Hey guys, this is Karan Binani from MobiScrub, and Samsung just released its 2016 version of the J5 and the Galaxy J7. This video is going to cover the J7, its unboxing and review. Looking at the box, you can tell this device is primarily for people who are on the run on their bikes and targeted to the youth looking to own a mid-range smartphone at a cost of about 15,990 rupees. It's a dual SIM 4G device with an impressive 1.6 GHz Octa core processor, a 13 megapixel camera, ultra data saving mode, HD display, and the S-Bike mode. The front camera comes with a flashlight in the front so you can take bright selfies in absolute darkness. And there you go, it says S-Bike mode right there. Samsung is really going out of their way to enable everyday bike riders to put their smartphones to an extremely safe use. Alright, let's just open up the device real quick and look at what's inside the box. So there you go, that's the unit right there, the Samsung Galaxy J7 2016 edition. So let me just keep it a little aside and dive into the box right on. So we have the quick start guide, something that none of us ever really bother. A 3300 milliampere hour battery, it's quite slim and long. You've got your USB 2.0 data syncing and charging cable. You've got your regular wall charger. This is not a fast charger, so keep note of that. And then you've got standard headphones, but these are not similar to the ones that you get with the flagship devices like the S7 or the S7 Edge. Okay, so that's the J7 right there, and I'm just going to take off the protective wrappers. Wow, this one's a little tight. Okay, there we go, off we are. And there you go, so that's the J7. You've got this nice brushed metallic finish, but I'm pretty sure this is plastic, and yes, so it is. Actually, that's pretty much how they managed to keep the weight of the device, sort of on the lighter side. But again, it's got a removable back, so you can, even if your battery goes off its life, you can always just replace with a new one. So it's got a 3300 milliampere hour battery, which is actually very, very good for this device because it's not that power hungry. The display is not full HD. I think it's HD display, so it's not even going to use a lot of battery. And it's a dual SIM device, so you have your SIM card slot 1, SIM card slot 2, and you have your microSD card slot, which is 128 GB expandable, and that is a lot. Now, let's run through the specifications real quick. The J7 is running the latest Android Marshmallow 6.0.1, backed by a 1.6 GHz octa-core processor, 2 GB RAM, 16 GB internal memory, and a microSD card slot, as I just told you. At the back, you've got a 13 megapixel camera with LED flashlight with an f-stop of 1.9, which is quite nice, a full HD video recording capability, and the front camera is 5 megapixel, again with an LED flashlight, so bright selfies. Alright, so let's switch on the device and start exploring the J7 2016 edition. Now, since it's the first boot, I'm guessing it's going to take some time, so let me just take you around the device and let's talk about it a little. The overall look is quite nice because of the metallic finish all around on the edges. The styling and the curves that you see within the edges really adds to the X factor in the design. Now, the J7 does, however, feel a little broad in your hand, and it isn't something that you'll be able to use easily using just one hand. Talking about the display, it's a 5.5-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 720 by 1280 pixels. Now, this is an HD screen. It's not full HD, but that's alright because at this price point, it's still a pretty impressive display. The J7 is just 7.8 millimeters thick, which, to be honest, I feel is the optimum thickness zone to ensure a sturdy build. But even for a mid-range smartphone, just look at the way the edges are styled and given a metallic finish. It's actually quite a good-looking device, especially for this price point. But from an ergonomics point of view, the device feels a bit large, especially if you've got small hands like mine. Even though the J7 is in the phablet zone of things, it does not feel very heavy. At just about 170 grams, you would expect the device to be heavier, but that's not at all the case. The brushed metal finish on the back panel really makes a lot of difference. It gives a better grip, makes the device less slippery, and leaves no fingerprints, keeping it clean. Alright, now that I've set up the device, let's just talk about the interface side of things. This is the J7 running Android 6.0.1 with the latest Samsung TouchWiz user interface. You just swipe to unlock and then you come on the home screen with the native built-in apps, some frequently used app shortcuts, and the app drawer icon. Just like the latest S7 Edge, the interface is very similar. You've got a nice white minimal settings area with active icons indicated by a pleasant blue color. Settings just like we saw in the S7 Edge. And if you go into the software version, you'd see that it says Android Marshmallow 6.0.1. Having a quick look at the features, the J7 offers ultra data saving mode, which allows you to browse the internet with least data consumption. The S-Spike mode, I'll talk about it a little later. Ultra power saving mode. Everything else is more or less common and standard across all Android smartphones. Now, I really just want to talk about the display for a while. It's a 5.5-inch Super AMOLED display, which means vivid colors, extremely bright screen, the blacks are very deep, and that truly brings the color out. And as you can see, the black, just look at the black area, it's completely off. So, the colors really pop out. And again, if you go into display, you could see that there's an outdoor mode that you can enable, or you could just actually turn it on and you'd see the difference. It just brightens the screen. So even when you're out, bright sunlight, there's absolutely no issues when it comes to reading the smartphone. It's just amazingly well lit. A couple of pre-installed apps. You get the entire Google suite of applications. You've got My Galaxy App Store. So there you go, the entire Google suite of apps. A bunch of Microsoft apps are already pre-installed, but you'd have to update them when you get the phone. And then you have the FM radio, voice recorder, the S Health app. Again, so everything basic is already in there. But if you do want to install more of them, you can go into the Galaxy Essentials, which is on the desktop, in the home screen. Now you can double tap to launch the camera, and that's again the case with most Samsung smartphones these days. But look at the speed at which you can take pictures on this smartphone. It's just very quick. You've got a couple of modes such as the beauty face, panorama shot, pro mode, sound shot, and you can just download a bunch of them from the App Store. In the pro mode, you get the option to change the ISO levels, the white balance, and the exposure values. But again, I don't know if that's something you'd be using too much, although in the S7 and the S7 Edge, these modes are quite nice. And that's the front camera, which is, by the way, enabled by LED flash. So, you can take bright selfies as well. And it won't matter whether you're inside a club or something, you can just take a selfie. Now, these are some pictures that I took with the smartphone, just around where I was shooting. And you can see that the picture quality is quite nice, depth of field is amazing, and even in low light conditions, you can see that, the pictures have come out really well, the colors look great. But I am going to do another video on just the camera and its quality in one of the other videos. The speed of the device is impressive. It's an octa-core processor. It's got 2 GB of RAM. So definitely, loading of web pages, launching of apps, shuttling between different apps, all of that is pretty quick. And again, just to give you a demonstration, you can see that, let's say, I'm on the home screen, then I go into the dialer, I go into messaging, and then I just snap out of it, go into contacts, snap out of it, go back into phone, snap out, open the camera. It's just all really, really quick. And again, that's, even for a mid-range smartphone, I think it does great. And I'm just giving you another example of how the phone performs. And this is a pretty high intensive game called Chameleon Run. And you can see that there's absolutely no issue. It just runs very smooth. And that's basically your octa-core processor talking. So I did a benchmark test on ANTUTU, if that's how you want to spell it out. And it gives you a pretty decent score. So again, for a mid-range smartphone, it's not going to give you all the way up to 70,000 or 80,000 like the S7, but it just does give you something which is great to work with, and it will definitely run pretty much everything that you throw at it without any issues. And just to reiterate on a single hand use, you can see that I am struggling a bit to go around the screen with just one hand. It is a pretty broad phone, but that's because it's got a massive display, and I'm sure you'd enjoy playing games and watching videos on this screen. Now, coming to the S-Bike mode, this is an NFC sticker that you put on your bike to enable the S-Bike mode, or you could just use the power button to go into the S-Bike mode. So here's what happens. If this is stuck to some place on your bike or your scooter, just tap the phone and the S-Bike mode turns on. Now, what does the S-Bike mode do? Well, all incoming calls will be answered automatically, and callers will be asked to press 1 if their call is urgent. Otherwise, you won't even be notified. Now, you will not be allowed to use your device while you're riding. And again, you can also turn on Smart Reply, and you can choose a few contacts. So if they call, they actually get a message back saying how long will you take to reach wherever it is that you're reaching. So that's it really about the Samsung Galaxy J7, the 2016 edition. For a mid-range device, I think it's a pretty great buy at a price point of about 15,990. And again, I think the design, the camera, the performance, all are really up to mark when it comes to a mid-range smartphone. So thank you for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I would be happy to answer them. Leave them in the comments below. Do not forget to subscribe and like the video.